Well, Rupert Murdoch stepping down this week as chair of News Corp. His son Lachlan heading in to take over. But Murdoch doesn't intend to jump into full-fledged retirement, telling shareholders yesterday that he plans to maintain a, quote, active role in the company. He will become chair emeritus of both Fox and News Corp. Fox News is perhaps his most enduring legacy. The conservative network forever changed the media's coverage of politics. So what can we expect from a possible Biden-Trump rematch in 2024? Brian Stelter is the author of the new book out, Network of Lies, the epic saga of Fox News, Donald Trump, and the battle for American democracy. Brian, congratulations on the book. It's great to see you.
You too, thanks.
So let's talk about where things stand today. We have Rupert Murdoch essentially stepping down, handing over the reins to Lachlan. When you take a look at the role Fox News has played in recent elections, specifically in 2020, what can we expect? What are the next steps, do you think, as we look ahead to 2024?
Right. One of the things I learned while doing this research for this book is that in 2020, Rupert and Lachlan Murdoch really were hands off when it came to election coverage. They did not meddle in Fox's decision desk. They did not, contra to the fears of liberal activists, they did not put a thumb on the scale. But once Fox did accurately call the election for Biden, some of Fox's opinion hosts swamped the truth with those lies about voter fraud and Dominion. Of course, that's what led to Dominion suing, and there's still another big lawsuit coming from Smartmatic. So we're going to be in a situation in the 2024 election where there is still a lot of litigation of the 2020 election. And I do think that might cause Fox to be somewhat more careful, more cautious about promoting lies in favor of Trump. But let's be honest, Fox News is more of an anti-Democrat machine than a pro-Republican machine. So at the end of the day, no matter who the GOP nominee is, whether it's Trump or anybody else, Fox will be on Trump's side because that means they're against Biden.
Has any of how that news is delivered changed, given that there's so much more effort put around making sure that if people are cutting the cord or if they're not utilizing linear networks the same way that they are, that at least maybe they're catching them on the streaming side? And how does that change even the way that they're speaking about some of the very kind of election sphere matters?
I think the biggest problem Lachlan Murdoch has as he officially takes charge of these companies, and we should acknowledge, he's been moving in this direction for years. Rupert has chosen Lachlan and signaled that for years. This week really makes it official, and it'll be official tomorrow at Fox Corporation. Lachlan Murdoch's biggest challenge is that the audience for Fox News is old and getting older. The average typical viewer is 65 or 70 or 75 years old, and they are still tied to cable. When Fox News has tried to expand into streaming, knowing that that's where everything's heading, they've had some only limited success. I reveal in the book that this 5-year-old Fox Nation streaming service only has about 2 million subscribers. In fact, they might not even hit 2 million quite yet, but they're hoping to by Christmas. That is a pretty minimal performance, given what you all know about the streaming wars. So it's been hard, basically, to convert Fox News viewers who are older into streaming, but that doesn't mean Lachlan's going to stop trying. He has Tubi and other streaming investments so that he is hedged in this marketplace.
Brian, how responsible, do you think Fox News is the fact that Trump once again is the front runner in 2024, just given the coverage that they have paid to the president over the last, obviously now for quite some time, but specifically over the last several years? I guess how much has that influenced the 2024 race already?
Well, Rupert Murdoch, right after January 6th, said in private emails that we're going to make Trump a non-person. He said, we are pivoting away from Trump. He basically thought Trump was ruined. And so did Fox's biggest stars. Tucker Carlson on the air said, Trump is elderly and retiring. So there was this assumption that we were past the Trump age. But then I think what happened is Trump was replatformed. Conspiracy theories about January 6th made it easier to bring Trump back into the fold. He's now back center stage. And that has a lot to do with Fox. And now this rematch, gosh, I don't know. Does anybody watching this right now really actually want a rematch between Trump and Biden? I think the American people are yelling loud and clear that they want something else. But because of the incentive structures of these two parties, that's the direction we are heading in. And if Lachlan Murdoch could change it, maybe they would, but they always seem in this environment to be passengers, not leaders. People think about Rupert Murdoch as this swashbuckling media mogul who controls media companies and has influence all around the world. There is some truth to that. But when you read his emails the way I did for this book, you get the sense that he's a 92-year-old grandpa who just likes hanging out and reading his newspapers and enjoying his yachts. He doesn't seem to be as in command as he used to be. It doesn't seem like he wants to be picking and choosing candidates the way he used to for decades.
Yeah, and I think ultimately when it comes to the next election, nobody wants to watch two men take 10 minutes to walk 10 feet out to a debate stage lectern at the end of the day, too. Ultimately, as we move forward and really kind of consider the larger spate or the larger kind of weight that media still carries and how they're going to be looking for advertisers to advertise against and around some of the larger messages that are going to be coming out during the next general election. How has that kind of stacked up? What are the anticipations that are going to be driving not just Fox, but a lot of the networks and the revenue base that they're expecting to come in during the next major political cycle next year?
That's right. The debates fueled by Trump in 2016 were serious, profitable events for these networks. And not just debates, campaign ad spending has also fueled these broadcaster companies like Fox Corp. That's a big priority of Lachlan Murdoch's, making sure that campaign ad spending continues to come in. But I think, the reality is because so many people are exhausted by this election, so many people feel politically homeless, I think that has an impact on the bottom line. The ratings for the Trump-free debates are not nearly as high as the ratings for the very Trumpy debates in 2016. So there are going to be impacts, at least around the edges, around the margins for these networks. But I still think big picture, political news is what drives CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. It's what drives the bottom line. Not every day. Obviously, there are times when wars and other crises are center stage, but it is largely politics, and that's not going to change in 2024.
Brian, I'm curious to get your perspective on this. When you take a look at the role of Twitter, now X, under Elon Musk, we talk about a lot about the fact that we've had misinformation, disinformation tied to elections, recently tied to some coverage of wars here. How has Musk reshaped, has he at all reshaped maybe the approach that some media is taking to larger coverage events like the election, like the wars? And I guess how dangerous do you think Musk potentially is given the role that he now has at X?
Look, I think we're in an environment that is very destabilizing, where the richest person in the world is telling people, don't trust the real media, don't trust the real news, come over to my platform instead and believe whatever algorithm, whatever tweets pop up in your algorithm. Sorry, I know we're supposed to call them posts now, but they're always going to be tweets to me. I think Musk's message is that he can replace the real news media with this citizen journalism. And maybe that's a great dream 10, 20, 30 years from now, but it's not true today. What you see in that feed is a lot of nonsense and a lot of noise mixed in with real news. But I think that's actually an opportunity for media companies, for journalism outfits. It's to draw people back home, bring them back to a place that, look, a place like Yahoo, for example, a place like CNN where I used to work. We're not perfect. Places like this aren't perfect, but we're trying. We're trying our best to get to what is real and true in the world. We're not just relying on a random assortment of messages and posts from who knows where, who knows who, in order to figure out what's true. Basically, I'm trying to say that role of journalism, those basic functions of journalism, they have more value than ever in an environment full of mis and disinformation on social networks.
Yeah, well, as long as colloquially we're still calling it Twitter, it'll always still be Twitter.
It's always Twitter in my heart.
There you go. Brian, good to catch up with you. Thanks for taking some time here this morning. Brian Stelter, author of Network of Lies, the epic saga of Fox News, Donald Trump, and the battle for American democracy. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.